Hey guys, today in this tutorial I am going to show you how we can implement this chat application UI in Flutter. As you can see over here, this is our iOS device and here we have different chats. And if we click on any chat, then we can see the chat detail screen. And we have the send a message area. Here we can type the messages and all. Right. So that is the UI, and here in Android also we can see the same thing. This UI we are going to build today in this tutorial. So if you are new to my channel, then let me tell you, I create tutorials on React Native, Flutter and web design and development as well. So if you are interested in this kind of tutorial, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post a new tutorial. So without wasting any more time, let's get started with the tutorial. So to create the chat application, I have created a new project, and here we can see the default layout of a Flutter project. And I have added some files and folders in our project to get started. Here you can see assets directory, and within assets directory we have images directory, and then we have these images. These are the user images which we will use in our chat application. And within this lib directory I have created models folder. Within this models folder I have user model and the message model. Right, so in the user model, this is how our user data should be structured. So I have defined this. User should have an ID, name, image URL, and if the user is online or not. So we will need these details for creating an user. And here I have created some users. This is our current user, and these are the some other users which I have created. I have provided the ID, name, images, and whether the user is online or not. And here we have the message model. So in the message model we have similar thing. We have the structure of a message. So a message should contain these details. The first one will be the sender, so it would be an user who will send the data. So the data type is user for this sender variable, and then we have the time, text and unread boolean variable. And for the time I have used a string over here, but typically it would be datetime data type or a timestamp from Firebase. And here we have list of messages. So this one for the chats on home screen. On the home screen where we have the different chats, that list is present here. And then here we have the chat for the chat screen, which is the chats with a particular user. So these are the two screens which we will create, and I have created these models so that we can use these data in our UI. I will upload this project to my GitHub, so you can get these codes from my GitHub repo. You can find the link in the description below. Now we will clean this main.dart file, and then we will start designing our app. For our app, I will import this home screen, so I need to create this file, and for the primary color of our app I will use this color. Now create this home screen.dart file. So for that I will create a new directory called screens, and within screens I will create this home screen.dart file and import the material.dart package, and here we will return a scaffold, and for the scaffold app bar I will use the inbox text, and for the body currently I will display a container, and in this container child I will add a text. And now we need to import that, so I will import it. So this is how our app is looking right now. Now we need to design the UI in this home screen.dart file. So first I will add some icons in our app bar, and I will remove this debug stripe as well. So to removing that, I will set this to false. So our debug stripe has gone. Now for this app bar I will use leading icon, and here I will use icon button, and for the icon button icon I will use icons menu, and for on pressed right now we will do nothing. Now we can see the icon has been present over here, and then I will add a search icon here. So for that, after this title I will use these actions, and in this action I will use another icon button, and this icon will be icon search, and similarly it will be a blank function. Now the icons are showing, so now we need to change the color of this text and the icons. So for that I will add the color, so the color will be white color. So for the text I have also added the white color, and for this icon, this search icon, I will add the white color as well. So our app bar design has been completed. Now I will add an elevation. Already we can see a shadow over here, but I will make this more prominent. So for that elevation I will use 8. Now after saving this, you can see the shadow is now much more prominent. And now for the background of this scaffold I will use white color. Now within this body we need to create those chats. So let's see what we need to build. Here we have the user image first in a circular shape, then we have the username, the chat time, and the chat text. So to create this layout within this container, we need to have a row layout, and within this row we will provide a container widget, and within this container we will use circle avatar, and within this circle avatar we will use the image. So here for the background image we will use the images which is the asset image, because we have the local asset. So I will use this Iron Man image, and for the radius of it I will use 35. So our image has been presented over here, but we need to provide some padding. So we will provide the padding in this top level container widget. For horizontal I will use 20, and for the vertical I will use the 15 pixel. So now it has a proper spacing. Now we need to have a shadow in this image. So to provide the shadow here in this container, we can provide the decoration, and in this decoration we need to provide the box decoration, and in this box decoration we can provide the box shadow. Here we can provide the box shadow widget, and now we need to provide the shadow property. For the shadow color I will use gray color with opacity 0.5, and then I will use spread radius value 2 and blur radius value 5. Now save it. Now after saving it, we can see it has a shadow, but it's not in a circular shape. So to make this in a circular shape, we need to provide shape property, and the shape will be box shape circle. Now after saving this, we can see the shadow is in circular shape. And also we have another thing. If we see our actual app, then we can see in some of the chats we have this green circle around the user images. So here we can see that, but here we don't have, because this actually uses for the unread messages. So we need to provide that as well. So for that we can do some more customization in this box decoration. In this box decoration we can add a border, and it will be border all, and for the border width I will use 2 pixel width, and for the color of it I will use our primary color. So now save it. Now after saving it, we can see a border has been presented over here, but in our main application we can see we have a gap between the circle and the image, right? So we need to provide that as well. So to provide that, we need to add a padding over here, and the padding will be edge inset all 2. So it has been added properly, right? Also we can add another property which is border radius, and here we can provide the radius circular. We can provide any value as we want, maybe 20. Now after providing this, we are seeing some error over here. That is because we cannot use border radius and shape together in a box decoration. So we can now comment out this shape. Now after saving this, we can see we can customize the border by using this border radius, right? Now if I use border radius 40, then it is showing properly. So when we are using the border radius, that time we cannot use this shape, and when we don't have this green circle to our user image, that time we will use this shape. Right now I'm just commenting out this. Later I will check whether we have an unread message or not. Based on that I will use this shape and border. So we have done this part. Now we need to add the username, the chat time and the chat message. So for that we need to provide a row widget after this container, and for this row children I will provide a text widget. Now after saving this, we can see our text has been presented over here, but there is no space between this text and the image. I want to provide a spacing here. So for that I will add a container, and in this container I will add a padding. Okay, so there is a space. Now after this text I want to provide another text which will contain the time. Now I want to position these into two extreme corners. So for that I will add main axis alignment, space between. And for this container we need to provide a width as well. So it would be 65% of device width. So after providing width of this container, we can see that these two text has been positioned in their respective positions as I wanted. So we need to define the width of the container, and we need to provide the main axis alignment as space between for this row, right? So the username would be Iron Man. Now after this we need to provide the chat message beneath this text. So for that I will wrap this row in a column widget, and after this row I will add another container, and for the child of it I will add a text. So now I can see our text has been present over here, but now our image has been positioned at the center of the screen vertically. So it has happened because in our screen currently we are having this one column only, but we will have multiple chats on our screen. So it would be positioned one after another vertically, right? So right now I wrap this main wrapper container in a column. Later we will render those chat using listview widget. So I have wrapped this in a column, and for this widget let me add some other container as well. So I copy pasted this. Now save this. Now after saving this we can see that it has been positioned perfectly, right? So now we can style our widgets. For this username I will provide the font size 16, font weight bold. Now for the time of the chat I will use font size 11, font weight 300, and for the color of it I will use black 54. So it has been styled properly. Now for chat text I will use a text, so I can grab it from here. Now here I will provide a gap, so I will use sized box. Height would be 20. Okay, let's provide 10. Now it's looking good. Now we need to style this chat message as well. So for the style of it I will use font size 13, color black 54. For overflow of text I will use text overflow ellipsis, so it will display triple dots if the text is being overflowed. And for the line maximum I will use 2 lines. Now let me show you how it will display. So I have copied the text again. Now see, the text is being overflowed, there is triple dots, right? So that's how this overflow is working. And another thing, if we have small text, then our text is being positioned at the center of the area, but it should be aligned in left hand side, right? So for that I will use alignment top left, so it has been aligned perfectly. Now let's provide this text as well. So that's how it's working. Now we need to render all chats based upon our model, right? So it would be this example on chat home screen, so it is the chats. Now we will render those things by using list view. So here it will be list view builder. For the item builder we will return this layout, so it would be this container. So I have copied it, now paste it here. Now we can get rid of this column. Now for the item count we will use this list, right? So it would be chats dot length, and make sure you import this message model. Now let's save it. Now after saving it we can see several copies of the chat. Now we need to provide the respective data. So for that, here we need to create a variable of message data type, and it would iterate through all the indexes for the items, and based on this chat we can call this item, the sender, time, text, all of these things. For this image I will use chat sender image URL. For the username I will use chat sender name, and for the time of it I will use chat time, and for this text I will use chat text. Now save this. Now after saving this, it has been updated, right? So now our data is being generated by this data model. Now we need to do some more customization. Here we can see the circle around this user image for every chats, but it should be only for the unread messages which we have provided from here. So we need to provide that check as well. Here we can provide that checking. Now in this box decoration we can use either the shape or this border. So we will use this border when the message is unread, otherwise we will not display the border. So for that it would be chat unread. If the unread is set to true, then we will use this box decoration with this border, otherwise we will use the box decoration with this shape, right? Now save this. Now after saving this we can see that it has been updated. Now let's see what else we need to do. So here we can see that we have another thing, which is this green dot beside the username. So when the user is online, that time this green dot will be present beside the username. So we need to add that. Beside this name we need to add another widget. So to add that we need to first wrap this name with row widget, and within this row we will add another widget which is container. So for this container width I will use 7 pixel, height of it will be 7 pixel as well, and for the decoration of it I will use box decoration. Shape of it will be box shape circle, and color of it will be our primary color. So now we can see that it has been presented here, but there is no space. I want to provide some space as well, so the margin will be left 5. Now after saving it we can see that it is showing perfectly. Now we need to make this dynamic, so we need to check whether the user is online or not, and that detail we are getting from this user model. Okay, so it would be chat dot sender dot is online. If is online set to true, then we will render this container, otherwise we will render another container with null. After saving this we can see this green dot is presented for those users who are online. So now we are completed with the layout of this home screen, but we need to do another thing, and that is when we will click on any chat, that time we will be presented with the chat screen of that particular user, right? So for that we need to add a functionality to tap on these widgets. So for that we need to wrap this complete widget with another widget which is called gesture detector, and in this gesture detector we get this on tap, and for this on tap we will use navigator, and by using this navigator we will push another screen, and we need to provide that route here. So it would be material page route, and for this material page route builder I will provide another screen, and now I will create that screen here, and that would be our chat screen. So here I will import that chat screen. So now if we click on any chat here, then we can see that we are presented with some content, and that is the data. Right now we haven't added anything yet here, so that's why it's showing like that. Now I will add a scaffold here, and for the app bar I will use this app bar. Title I will use a text, and it would be the username, and for the body currently I will use a text. Now let's see, this is how it's looking, right? Now we need to make this dynamic based upon our user, so we will accept an user here. So it would be final user. So make sure you import this user model, and then for the chat screen we will use this user variable. So here it would be widget user name. So there is an error because I haven't provided that data in our chat screen from this home screen yet. So we need to provide this user, and it would be chat sender. Now save this. Now reload this once. Now click here, then we can see Captain America, Black Widow. So it's working perfectly. Now we need to create the layout for this screen. First I want to make this title center aligned. So for this I will use this center align to true, and here I will use rich text. And now for the text I will use text span, and for this text I will use the username. For this text span children I will use a text span, and here I will provide this text, and after that I will provide another text span, and for this text I will use new line character, and then I will use another text span which will display online or offline. Now save this. After saving this we can see our data is present here. Now I need to make this center aligned. So for this rich text align, I will align center. Now I will provide some styling for this username and this user status. So for the style of it I will use font size 16 and font weight of 400, and for this status I will use. Now after saving this we can see it has been changed properly. Now I want to change this back arrow. For that I will use icon button, and for the icon of it I will use this icon, and for on pressed I will use navigator pop context so that I can get back to our previous screen. For the color of it I will use white color. Now let's check this. So it's working properly. Now I will check this in iOS platform. So for that I stop this here and start our iOS simulator. So here in iOS we can see that our layout is showing perfectly, right? And if we click here then it has been presented perfectly. Now I want to change something in this status bar. I want to provide white color text and the icons. So for that I will use brightness dark. Now I can see that it has been changed properly. Now for this home screen also I will do that. So I copy this and paste it here. Now we can see that it has been updated for this as well. Now let's focus in this section. So here we need to create these chat bubbles, and for the background color I need to provide this gray color, right? So for the color I will use this color. So here first we need to add a column, and for this column children I will create the chat bubble and also this send message text area. So for that we need to have a column and container. So here I am adding a column, and for this column children I will add some container. So I have added these containers. I will replace this container with the chat bubble, and at the bottom I need to use the send message text area. So for that here I am using another container. So it is presented here at the bottom of this, but I want to position this in this section, bottom of this screen. So for that I need to wrap this column with another widget called expanded. Now after using this you can see that this data is presented here while the send message text is present at the bottom, right? So like this we can achieve that layout. So now we can replace this with our chat bubble here, and our chat bubble will contain this chat message and this user image with the time of the chat, right? So it will be another column, and for the children of this column we will use container, and for this container child we will use the text which will be our chat message. For the decoration of it I will use box decoration. Color of it will be white color. For border radius I will use border radius circular, and it will be 15 pixel. So now save this. Also provide some padding and margin. For vertical I will use 10 pixel. So now we can see a circular section has been created, but it's not showing prominently, so we will provide a box shadow. And I will provide a similar kind of shadow which I have provided for the image. So I copy this box shadow and paste it here. Now save this. Now we can see that it is much more prominent and properly visible, right? Now let me provide a larger text over here. So I copy this and paste it here. Now see, that's how it's looking, but I want to change the appearance of it little bit. I want to provide 80% of the width of the screen for this chat bubble, and that would be our max width. And if the text is small, then it will acquire the space is required for that text. So for that I need to wrap this container with another container, and for this container constraints I will use box constraint. For the max width I will use media query size width into 80. So that's how it's presented. And for this container alignment I will provide alignment top left, because it will be aligned at the left hand side. It is the text provided by the other user. And then after this I will provide the user image, so it would be similar to our user image provided here, except here we will provide a smaller size of image. So we can copy that from here. Okay, so I have copied it. Now after this container I will paste this here. I will use a image here, and we don't need to use this checking because we are not going to use that circle here, so it is gone. So we don't need this padding as well, and now it would be much smaller, so the radius would be 15. Now beside that we need to provide the time. So for that I will wrap this container with a row widget, and after this container I will create a text widget, and for the style of it I will use text style, font size 12, and color black 45. Now save this. Now after saving this, we can see that it has been presented, but there is no spacing between these two. So I will use a sized box here, and for this sized box width I will use 10. So now it's much more prominent. For this text I will use some style, and color of it will be black 54. Now save this. Now it's looking good. So this one will be for the other user. For current user, for me, for the user who is sending the chat, for that user we need to create another chat bubble which will have a different color. So I can copy this column and paste it here. Now it would be top right, so it has been positioned at the right side. Now we need to change the color of this chat bubble. So the color of it will be our primary color, and for this text color I will use white color. And for this user image and the time, it will be aligned at the right hand side as well, but this time it will change the order. This image will be at the extreme right, then the time. So for that we need to change the position of these things as well. So this text will be positioned here, and then the size box, and then the container, and this row main axis alignment will be end like this. So now we need to create all these things dynamically based on our data. So now here I will export this to a new function called chat bubble. So all of these things I will export in a new function. So I copy this and create a function here, and within this function I will return that. And in this chat bubble I will accept some arguments which is message. So make sure you import this message model, and this boolean will be used for checking if the message has been sent by me or the other user, and based upon that checking we will render this chat bubble. So if the is me is set to true, then we will return this chat bubble. So that would be this one, right? So I copied this and paste it here, else we will return another column which is this one. So I have cut this thing, I can get rid of this and paste it here. Okay, and then here in this section we will render this within this list view builder. For the item count we will use messages.length, and then we will build the items. So it would be build context int index, and here we will get the message from the messages based on the index, and also we will check for is me boolean, and it will be from message sender id equal to current user id. If the message sender id matches with current user id, then we will set is me to true, otherwise it will be set to false. Now we need to return the chat bubble, and here we will pass the message and is me. Now we can get rid of this container and this column as well. Now save this. Now after saving this we can see that this has been rendered dynamically, right? Now I will provide some spacing around this layout. So for that, in this list view builder I will use a padding, and that padding will be 20 pixel. So it's looking quite good now. Now I will change this dynamically, this chat message and the user image. So here it will be message text. So message text has been changed for the is me, right? So I will update all of these things quickly. So it has been updated. Now we need to render this in reverse order. so it will be reverse true. Now it's showing perfectly. Now we have to do one other thing, that whenever a user is sending multiple messages at a time, that time this user image is also present for each message. But I don't want that. I want to provide the user image once for multiple messages. So for that we need to introduce another variable which is same user, and for that we need to create another variable which is previous user ID, and we will assign this sender ID in this previous user ID variable. So we will check if the previous user ID is equal to message sender ID, then it will be set to true, otherwise it will set to false. Now we need to initialize this previous user ID here, and we need to pass this to our chat bubble function as well. Now we will check this for this user image and the time. So here in this row, so if it is not same user, then we will render this row, otherwise we will render null. So it has been updated for is me, and now we need to update this for other user as well. So here it will be same thing. If it is not is same user, then we will render the row, otherwise we will render null. So it has been updated properly. Now we need to add one last thing, which is this send message text area. So for that, here I am creating a new function send message area, and I will create that function here. So we will return a container here, and for this container padding I will use horizontally 8 pixel padding. For the height of it I will use 70 pixel. For the color of it I will use white color, and for the child of it I will use row widget, and for this row children I will use some icons and a text input field. So first one will be icon button. For the icon I will use icon photo. For on pressed it will be empty function. For the icon size I will use 25 pixel, and for the color of it I will use primary color. So this is how it's showing, and then I will use another icon button which is send button, and in between these two icons I will use the text field. For the text field decoration I will use input decoration, and for the hint text I will use send a message. For text capitalization I will use text capitalization sentences. I will wrap this with a widget, and that will be expanded. Now save this. Now after saving this we can see that our send message text field is showing here, and our send message icon is showing. So this area is working properly as expected, right? Now we can see that it is working properly. Now for the offline user this online text is showing. So now we need to change this. So if the widget user is online, then we will use this text span, otherwise we will use this one, this offline. So now it has been changed to offline, and for the online user it's showing online, right? So that's how it's showing, and I have used only one chat messages here. You can add multiple so that it will change for each user. So that's the tutorial, guys. I hope you have learned something new from this tutorial. If you do so, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this, and let me know by commenting down below. And if you have any kind of suggestion for me, then also let me know in the comment section below. So I will see you guys in my next tutorial. In the meantime, have a great day. Goodbye.